Hey, everybody. Welcome back to part two, Becoming Fort Washington City. Dave Owens here. Once again, we're continuing our community engagement sessions. This is part two tonight. Tonight, we're going to talk about what it looks like when you become a city. How is your tax rate determined? There's always a lot of questions about that. If you can go back, you want to take a look at part one, we dealt with why even become a city. So you can take a look at that at your own leisure. In summary, Prince George's County does not generate enough revenue to provide comprehensive services for a county this size. There are structural revenue issues with that. As a result, services are inconsistent or non existent. Your property values end up being lowered. So there's an issue with that. Becoming a city helps solve that problem. So go back and take a look at that one and listen to that one in part one. We walk through that methodically, step by step. We take our time so that you can understand what we mean when we say Prince George's County doesn't bring in enough revenue to provide comprehensive services for a county this size for you. And that impacts your property values in the long run. So that's part one. Let's get on to part two tonight, demystifying what it means to be a city and what your taxes are all about. So let's jump into that. So I hear this a lot. When you become a city, you get double taxed. You have redundant services. Wrong. That is not how it works. Okay. There are laws that prevent you from being double taxed. It can't happen. All right. So here's how it works. Your city council, city manager, city leadership, every year they turn in a report to the county and they tell the county what percentage of services, what services and what percentage of those services the city is going to handle. 80% of police, 75% of public works, 30% of this and that, and on and on and on. You get the point there. And the county says, thank you very much. And they then send you back what they call a tax differential. And that tax differential gets taken off of your county tax rate. Right now, the county tax rate is 1.00. Then you add in other things and it brings it out to about 1.4, 1.5. This is property taxes. And so what ends up happening is that tax differential then gets subtracted from your county tax rate. So your county taxes actually go down. Then city council then levies a tax on those people within that incorporated area. They bring that tax money in, and that is the taxes used to provide the services for that incorporated area. That's how it works. Okay. And so that's the county tax reduction, and that's what it looks like for the different cities. You do not get double taxed. You do not have redundant services. So here are the services that cities receive a tax reduction for. The ones that are in bold, I'm going to actually move up my screen here so you can see it. The ones that are in bold are the ones that cities receive the most tax reduction for. So if you think about it, public works, police, fire, those are the big ones. The more you do of those things, the more your tax reduction is. And that's why when you go to cities, for the most part, you see some combination of those things: public works, police, and fire. But they do other things as well. Let's take Landover Hills, for example, a small municipality, couple thousand people, I believe. This is what they do. They provide some public works, about 90%, some housing stuff, police patrol, police admin. You can read that, but they provide that percentage of those services. That gets them a tax differential of 0.086. We'll show you the math here in just a second. Here's what Landover Hills does not provide. They do not provide public works vehicles. They have some staff, but they don't use county vehicles. They have police officers, but they don't have police vehicles. So you can mix and match that way. They don't have a library. They do some animal control, but they don't have vehicles. So again, that mix and match. That gets them a tax differential of 0.086. So here's what it looks like. Your county tax rate is 1.00. Again, you get other things added to that, park and planning, water, metro, all those things. But your base county tax rate is 1.00. Landover Hills gets their tax differential of 0.086 subtracted from that county tax rate for a new tax rate of 0.9140. So their county taxes go down. Then their city council levies a 0.52 city tax on city residents to pay for those services. Now, they're a small municipality, so there's not a whole lot of money coming out of there, but that's what they do. So, as you can imagine, the larger cities are the ones that have the larger tax differentials. Laurel, Greenbelt, Bowie. I mean, where we just saw Landover Hills with a 0.086, Laurel has a 0.138. So their county tax rate comes down pretty significantly. Forest Heights has got a tax rate or tax differential, excuse me, of 0.100. Not bad. So that's how that works. So before we move into our next section, if you have any questions, you can certainly leave it here in the thread. I mean, this is online right now. Or if you want to shoot me an email, you certainly can shoot an email to that email right there. So that's how it works. Now, in part 3, we're going to get more specific on Fort Washington City, the services that we want to or propose for our citizens. And what that looks like in terms of a tax differential and what that means for your taxes. So we're going to go through that all in part 3, but we're going to shut it off now because this is part 2. So we'll break it up, give you some time to let this digest and come back and read part 3 and listen to part 3 in the future. All right. So that's parts 1 and 2. Hope you've enjoyed that. If you've got any questions, certainly put them in the thread. Get in touch with me through that email, and we will continue on with these community engagement sessions. Hopefully, everybody is enjoying these and getting the information that they need to make what we think are informed decisions on becoming Fort Washington City. Have a great night, everybody.